going on, YouTube? This is why people turn to religion. Why people turn to religion and why people are religious. And how I feel about religion in the first place. This is a really good question. It really is why people turn to religion. First, most of us was born and raised on a religion. We don't have a choice. Like there's no say in it at all. Like I meet people that are from certain religions and ask them, how long have you been? So I was ever since I was born. And my kids will be too. They are. And I was like, oh, okay. So there's no choice in the matter. I feel like that's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. In this world, when you're a kid, you have a lot of questions. You have a lot of your own theories and ideas. You just see this big old place and you're like, wow, what else can I see? How much more can I explore? What else is going on here? And you can only think with what you already have. So you just assume that somebody made it and it has to look like me. Now, when somebody comes along and they tell you, oh, well, this is the answer to all your questions ever since you're a kid, and every year you hear it at least 1,000, 100,000 times. Now, this is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. That's the reason that you know your name, because people called it so many times, and you said, hey, they must be calling me. That's my name. Now that's your truth. I remember I was brought up to be a Jehovah Witness. I didn't like to go to church. It had nothing to do with the religion. I was just forced. My grandmother was a Jehovah Witness. All her parents were Jehovah Witnesses. So I was in that process of being forced to be a Jehovah Witness. And my father one day, he said, hey, you know, you got a decision. You don't have to go to church. You're old enough now. If you don't want to go, you don't have to go. And I was a kid. I was running around a lot, always having fun. So I was like, I'm not going to go. Because I always had questions anyway. I was that kid that the pastor did not want in his classroom. You know, they always had like, I don't know what they call them, but they had the schools in the churches for the kids, and they give like the kids their own little kiddie Bible or whatever like that. And I used to look through the book, and I was like, first off, like no discrimination, but I was like, every character is white. That's just, I was like, okay, oh wow. So I thought like in my head, honestly, being a child, yeah, right. Being a kid, I was like, well, maybe everybody was white back in the day, like, cause you're a child, like, and then they said the locations, and I was like, well, the people over there, they're pretty colored, but that was small things to me, so I just go, whatever, okay. Then I remember the day I heard about cavemen, dinosaurs. I said, okay, so what came first, Adam and Eve or cavemen? And I remember a priest actually told me, oh, that's a story. It probably is. Hell, I don't know. I wasn't there. But we got caveman bones, though. I can say that. And he tried to associate cavemen with monkeys. And he's like, oh, well, if you think you're a monkey, I guess you can go with that story. So it kind of try to just push away information that contradicts what it says in a holy book. And I'm not talking about one religion. I'm just talking about various religions because they all break down somewhere, and they break down hard. So it still brings me to the question: why do people turn to it after they're of age? They can think for themselves, and their brain is functioning, and they see the world for themselves. They have their own perception. I know once you're brainwashed into any kind of thing, it's so difficult to see anything as anything else, right? Well, quickly, I learned a lot of things. I asked a lot of questions like, okay, if there's a God, why is he a man? Why is he this guy sitting in the clouds waiting to, out of all things, he's going to judge me? But your Bible says this. So it's kind of a contradiction. And God kills a lot of people in the Bible. I'm not talking about, oh, natural deaths and, that's just God's way and how people say and things like this. I'm talking about in the Bible, oh, God's wrath and, oh, God will kill you. And then he's a loving God and blah, blah, blah. It seems like he just, in this Bible, in people's Bible, you're talking about a schizophrenic God, or you're talking about multiple entities acting for their own reasons, and we're just collaging them all together and saying it's one being, and saying, hey, that's all God. But whatever that case is, we'll never know. That's the past. We'll never know. It doesn't matter what people write down, because the truth is never at the end of a pen. Because everybody interprets things their own individual way. Well, nowadays I've seen that when people go to religion, it's usually because they lose faith. They feel like life cannot move forward for their self. Mostly like they're giving your power away, and they feel like there is no other option. Like drug addicts, a lot of drug addicts. Now look at, I'm not sitting here. Let me get some more light in here. I'm not sitting here trying to. I'm just. I'm not sitting here trying to down religion. I'm not. I'm just saying what I see, and this is my truth. Like every um, person that I know that's down on their luck, they always start to go to church and they start to say, "Oh yeah, I'm feeling better," but they never go over that emotional charge that they've been hit with. Like I seen heroin addicts, they start to go to church, and yeah, it makes a difference. It does. It really does. But there's other reasons for that too. And in my line of work now, um, I've been shocked because I love a lot of different cultures. I love Oriental cultures, and I love Eastern cultures. Period. Right. Especially Indian culture. And I ran into like a lot of Indians I worked for. I had a lot of clients that was Indians in the past 2 weeks, and that none of them are Hindu, Buddhists, or just meditators and trying to do yoga. Thank you. So they either, I was like, hey, yeah, man, I love your culture. He said, oh, no, 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 I'm Christian. I was like, oh, okay, all right, all right. Then I had a client today that was uh, Indian. I was like, oh man, I love your culture. They were showing me their cooking. They gave me some food and stuff like that. I love it. And he's like, oh no, 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 I'm Muslim. I'm like, wow. The real reason that I want to make this video here today, because why is the world being dominated by Christianity? Now this, I'm not saying anything wrong with Christianity for all you Christians out there, but well, don't take offense. I'm just telling telling my truth, like I'm gonna say. A lot of religions, and religion means to contain or to keep control, right? A lot of religions use religions, the structure, to keep people in check. Look, clear, 100% fact. They used it for slavery, and it worked like a gem. They didn't use it on black people to hold their mind in place. No, it wasn't about the black people at all. It was for the people who had the slaves. Because being a human being, you can't inflict pain. You can't do that to anybody and not be like, wow, you know, they're just like me. I can't do this. But they would recite the Bible. They would go through verses in the Bible. Now, if they was reading it wrong or not, that's not the point, because they was saying the same thing in church at that time to enforce slavery. Now, you see, when European countries conquer other countries, what do? The first thing they do, they reinforce their religions. You go to Africa, boom, they turn them Christian. You go to all these places, they just give them a Bible, and it just spreads like wildfire. Now in India, they're all turning Christian. And you can go to Asia, they're all turning Christian. Or Muslim, or Buddhist, or all of them. I feel the same about all of them. They're at one point, there's just a bar. And there shouldn't be a bar on any individual at all. Even I love Hinduism. I love Buddhism. But at a certain point, they bar you too. And that shouldn't happen. You should be absolutely free to expand as far as you can. Now, to be in a religion means that you have to obey by rules. You do. You have a structure. So you have to be contained. You can't go out of that circle. So you can't truly grow. You can grow within the fence. And as everybody recognizes, they probably don't intellectualize, like, really hit, it doesn't really hit your brain how it should. If you go to church, right, and you're doing something, and the people in church, they feel like it's wrong, the first thing they're gonna say, oh, what are you doing? Hey, you can't do that. Push you right back in line. Get on. So that's a good way to keep people in check. Most religious people, they do no research on their actual religion. And correct me if I'm wrong, anybody that is religious that's watching this, that they will not even look into it if they feel like there's something wrong with the religion. Like if something is a contradiction to it, they will not pursue it because they'll feel like it's the wrong thing to do. Because the only thing I could think of is like back in the day, um, it was more blunt, the face of religion. Priests will go around saying, if you don't have sex with me, you're going to hell. Now, the same thing is going on today, but it's just extremely watered down. Um, like, priests were like kings when we had kings. Like, the king did not rule. Like, people think we see stories and documentaries and movies, but the king was not the ruler. The priest was the ruler. Once that came to the forefront, like religion, after Christ, like the priest was the ruler, and even in Egyptian time, the priests were the rulers because they had the connection to the gods. So whatever they said went because hey, you don't want to anger them because they're your only lifeline to the gods. So why would an individual feel like, okay, this person can speak to the God, but I can't? So right there, you're already saying that, okay, I'm not superior. I'm not worthy of these kind of actions. All I should do is try to listen and obey to these guys because they know better than I. I believe in a creator. And people always say, well, somebody had to make this. And that's not necessarily true. It's not. Things happen, Like if you eat a cookie, crumbs fall. Like I didn't create the crumbs. Like in some way, in some form, it's cause and effect. Like I ate the cookie and the crumbs fell off the cookie, and now we're here. But I can guarantee you guys that any individual that has more willpower and has the strength to come slightly out of sleep and to meditate and to actually see that other dimension, to see or have a little clarity in life that a religious structure is not necessary. For some people, it is because it's a crutch. You have to believe in something because you have no belief in yourself. I don't believe. My belief is to not have belief. Because when you believe something, that means that you just trust it. You don't know that it's real, but I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to wing it. There's no evidence for most of these religions. And I understand 100%. There's some things that just can't be tangible and that can't be proven. And I always say there's a lot of information that even I talk about that would never be factual until death. Nobody will ever know until death. But there's people that are writing books about it and they said they swear to God they know. And I have no idea how they would ever know things like this. It's just crazy to me. But I feel like if you need a place to have a whole bunch of people that are trying to have a change, that yeah, go to a church and it doesn't matter what kind. I don't care if it's the Church of Satan. I don't care if it's a Buddhist temple or if it's a Muslim temple. You can always have unity in a place like that is everybody's going in the same direction. That's why I'll see one good reason that people will go to church or join a religion. But it was just weird that, you know, parents will force children into being in one religion since birth. They'll have no choice. Absolutely, like you're Muslim, you're Christian, or you're Buddhist. no matter what. And that person's not going to act right, not in life, and they're not going to respond right to that religion, even if it has wonderful benefits. That's one of the biggest things that I always look at. That all these religions, I don't care how you feel about it, but they do have great benefits to them. But for some reason, that they're never preached about, they're never brought to light, they're never put out there like these are a must. Like you have to do this. Like if you're gonna be a part of this religion, you have to do this, or don't even come here. There should be structure like that because I see it in people where we have absolutely no discipline. And I'm talking about how religion means to contain, to regionalize, to track, basically. And now I'm saying that we need discipline. Because in this matrix, in this sleep cycle that we are, in our wakefulness, how we have TV now, we have social media, we have constant habits that help us create more habits and recycle those bad habits like there is no tomorrow. There needs to be some kind of discipline. Like I extremely enjoy the yogic culture because it's based on discipline. Like you wake up, you have to do yoga, you have to do meditation every single day. Even if you see or you don't see progress, you can be like a bamboo tree. You water it, if I'm correct, I think it's a bamboo tree. There's one of these trees. If it's not a bamboo tree, like you water it for years and years and years and years, and you never see the actual tree. Then one day it just shoots up like crazy, and in weeks or months, out of nowhere. And do you think that it grew in those weeks or months? No, it grew throughout those years, even though you didn't see the results, but you put the time in. And then you bloom and you blossom to something that's incredible. But when I go to church, if I go to a church, yeah, you can feel that energy. Wow, like, these people are really trying to make something happen, and I love that. Then when they start to preach, I just feel like, oh man, I gotta get out of here, because I'm listening. Like people don't listen. I actually listen absolutely to every word because I want to know what you're trying to have me put into my brain. Because unfortunately nowadays you have to guard your mind. You have to stand at that door because there's a lot of things that's coming in unconsciously that we're taking in and we're being stuck with. There's a lot of verses in the Bible that are just completely against the human being itself. Like basically saying, I'm nothing, this is everything, and I'm worthless. And it's just weird. I'm like, like, you serious? Did you guys change this or something? Like, was it written like this originally? Like, there's something up with that. And I just don't understand that. Uh, I remember there was a guy, right? Hopefully he doesn't watch this, so I'm not throw his name out there. His name is Frankie. He had an addiction problem, or he has an addiction problem. He's not using currently, thankfully. Um, and he always used to say, "Well, we're nothing anyway. We're nothing. We're absolutely nothing. You just gotta praise the God. Jesus Christ. Blah blah blah." And he would just preach through all the scripture that he knew. And I was like, man, you speak with a lot of enthusiasm when you're talking about your religion. But then when you're talking about yourself, he just goes into like a sort of depression when you're speaking about a human being. And that's weird because we should know that the human being is incredible. Like there's so much that we're capable of that we don't even understand ourselves. That's amazing. We don't understand ourselves. We know more about other creatures than we can ever know about ourselves. And there's no religion that really dives in on that besides uh, Buddhists. They're always on a search. Hinduism, they're just open, you know. They just go through all aspects, so that I think that's pretty cool. And other religions, they just pound it out on being outwards, but they're not material. They they're not materialistic. It's so weird. Like I don't want to sound like I'm downing anybody again, but they don't want to focus on the physical. They only want to focus on the spiritual. But what is spiritual? Spiritual is anything that's beyond the physical, right? But then when you talk about the spiritual, they're saying, well, that's the devil. So I really get confused. And it's like this with a lot of religions. They say, oh yeah, I don't need money, I don't need cars, but you go to work for money and for cars. And you idolize the TV and the things that's on TV. I never met a religious person that didn't. And so I just don't see the aim in it. I really don't. I get lost in that. So if somebody can give me some clarity, I'm just really trying to understand for myself because I never got into it like that. Because when I look up at the stars, my mind as a child just immediately just expanded. Like, wow, I know for a fact that we're not the only ones. So let me stop shaking this camera, huh? Like I already thought, like if this place is that big that when I look up, I can't see and in at all. Obviously, we're not the only ones out here. Now, how far does that go? Don't know. I'm sure we'll find out. At least like 1% at some point. And then, like I was saying before, let me put it like this. If I talk to a monkey, if a monkey could talk to you, and you ask him, who God? Who is God? He'll say, what are you talking about? God is a big monkey. And if you ask a crocodile, what does God look like? The crocodile said, what are you talking about? Of course, it's a big crocodile. And he rules over this swamp. So we put everything into our own perspective. So when I hear the stories, even when I hear about the Sumerians, which is fantastic, I love their ideas on religion and Christianity, or all of these religions that have so much history behind them, and the Vedic culture, which is so ancient. Egyptians, I love their culture. It's just like so gappy. There's so many holes. I just feel that stay open to information. Take out all the greatness that you can from it and actually practice what you're going to preach and practice whatever principles that you're trying to be associated with. Because you don't want to be the person that's saying, oh, I'm a Muslim, but you have no idea what it's about, and you don't practice any of their rituals, and you don't want to say that you're Catholic, and you don't know any scripture. So what is your benefit? To be socially accepted? That's what I see nowadays. It's such a title. My old boss, because I'm my own boss now. So it's like, but truly, it's so crazy that he would just throw around that title like it was like it was night and day. Oh yeah, yeah, I'm a Christian. Never seen you go to church, man. I don't even know what church you're associated with. And he was so grimy. He was such a backstabber. He did such bad things to his own family. He was ruthless. But I understand that's how he assumed that a big businessman should do business. But it's just a social thing. People just want to say, hey, peace, man. People just want to say, this is what I'm a part of. I'm a part of a big association. It doesn't matter what's actually going on. So if you're part of a religion, bless you. Uh, More power to you. Don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong. Just actually go all in. Like, do the principles. Like, if you're not religious, if you are religious, if you do yoga, or if you do meditation, do it. I know it's a struggle because sometimes, like, being self employed, you get into it because you want to have free time, but sometimes when you're first starting, you gotta hustle. And I make appointments at a certain time, and I wake up at 5 o'clock, but sometimes 5 o'clock still is not early enough to make it to where I need to get and do my yoga and get some meditation in. But I always do something. I always do something because there is no excuse. There is no I'm tired. There is no this is going on. I'm gonna be late. It's because we're so used to looking outside because we're trained by these religions. That's the only thing that I'm trying to get across. Like these religions never say, "Come, okay, believe what I'm telling you. Look into this information because there's records for this information, but also when you get time, take a second and look within. Close your eyes, meditate, just relax your mind and see how your mind works after you let it relax a little bit. Just give it a shot. There's a lot of information on that. There's a lot of facts and data proving that with meditation and yoga, it can absolutely change your life. I'm just saying. Like, I'm not gonna say any more names, no religions, but we'll always stop looking out, stop looking up, stop looking down, stop looking for help. Stop looking for help, cause that's why the world is in. It could be in a better place, but everybody is always looking for help because we're trained to look outwards. Oh yeah, it's got to come from out there because I ain't gonna do it because I ain't worthy. I ain't got it. You know, I can't do it. I'm nothing. That's weird. You gotta stand up, condition yourself, discipline yourself, work hard, be able to fall down, hit your head until the white meat shows, and just be like, okay, this happens. Just move on and keep it rocking because I'm gonna be alive the next day. Somebody else didn't wake up, but you did, and that's amazing. We gotta say that. So, I'm gonna close this up because I'm kind of just dragging along here. But before you try to identify yourself with anything, ask yourself why. Like, really. If you're saying that oh, this religion or this practice saved me. Did it really? Or did it just give you a structure? The structure will change you overnight. So, I'm going to ask you guys for two favors. Find one thing that you know for a fact that would change your life and challenge yourself to do it for at least 30 days straight. And my second favor is if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Peace. I'm out of here, guys.